Hello everyone and welcome to episode 43 of Let's Design Cities Skylines. In today's episode we're going to be expanding our residential quite a bit, and we're going to do that in a bit of an urban sprawl fashion, as has been requested for many of you for quite some time now, because most of the neighborhoods that we've been building so far were like really compact, really with a ton of density, and we're going to try to do something a little bit different, even though I did a couple of neighborhoods already on corners of the map that were in super houses right next to each other. We're going to be trying to go a little bit further and spread out a bit more, covering a huge portion of the city, which is probably the one that you're seeing right now before your eyes. And let me just go back to the game for a moment and show you this layout that I started working on a couple episodes ago, which will pretty much set the tone for this neighborhood. I know this one might be a bit too rigid. It doesn't have a whole lot of curves, so I wanna go a little bit more fluid, if you will, here, a little bit more organic, less grid-like. So that's something to look for. If you remember from the previous episode, I was saying that we're probably going to have a bit of a commercial area here, a tiny one, here and here. And the reason for that is because, well, we have a ton of commercial demand, and the closest commercial strip that we have is this one right here. So I think these three areas and together with this will make the neighborhood accessible enough for people to drive around and shop. Now, talking about driving around, I was just looking that this new freeway that we have here, in fact, the old freeways that we have as well, don't really connect properly to this neighborhood. You see, we have one interchange here, another one here, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So the only off-ramp that we have coming from out of the city is this one that puts probably a little bit too much pressure on the national road here. And we also have these two on and off ramps, but pretty much if you're driving on the other side, you have to go all the way to the harbor and then take one of these avenues back to the residential area. So I think we are in dire need of a couple of exits and entries to the freeway. And I was thinking that this could be a good spot for something like that. So I'm just going to get, started right away. And I think I'm going to use this tool first because, well, it just snaps better. That's mostly why I like laying down roads with normal roads instead of freeways and then converting them, just in case you were wondering. And you know what, let's just do the same over there on the other side, just to mirror the design, and might as well just do it on this side as well. So we have 10 units here, which would put us, there we go, perfect. All right, so we're gonna go this way, try to make it as symmetric as possible. And also, by the way, this episode is going to be a little bit more live build heavy as compared to the previous ones where I did most of the work during a time lapse. I like keeping things interesting and changing them often, so that's what we're going with. I'm going to select these two nodes using Move It, and I'm just going to bring them down a bit. Something like that, I think kind of works. Let's rotate the camera real quick. Yeah, I'm actually kind of happy with that. We'll probably have to tweak it a bit further once we put down the rest of the roads. Let's turn off Move It. There we go. And we're just going to go, I think, right about there. So 5x6. I think that works-ish. I wonder if I upgrade this. Okay, so that works. It's a bit glitched at first, but it's okay. And in this case, we're going to go 5x7. That's okay, too, as long as I can just do that. And here, it seems like we have a bit of an issue, so I'm going to stop that. This one, I think it's fine, but let's replop this thing. There we go, and see if we can improve that connection somehow. Seems like it's a little bit more finicky. See if I can fix it by doing that. No. For some reason, it just doesn't. I tried this off camera. That's why I already know what I'm up against. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Up against. Sorry. I have to apologize. My voice also sounds kind of weird, but I just woke up a couple hours ago. Actually, less than an hour ago. So that's probably why. Oh, there we go. Never mind. That actually works. That's probably why I may sound a little bit weird. So I'm going to convert all of this to freeway. Let's turn on the arrows because obviously these are pointing the wrong direction. And there we go. Fantastic. Now let's take a look at the terrain here for a moment because I think I'm going to turn anarchy off. I'm going to select move it here and try to raise this just a little bit so that we get a nice, gentle, smooth slope going up. Do the same over here. I mean, these ones are almost perfect, so I wouldn't even touch them. This one is a little bit weird. There we go. All right. So, yeah, if I go too high up, it starts glitching this thing. So, but you know what? That actually works. I'm actually really excited. Look at the beautiful, super gentle shape that we have here. All right, let's move on to maybe this area right here, because we wanna get some commercial development in here. And actually, one thing I need to do relatively soon is change the theme, because right now we're only using the American Eclectic and Suburban themes, which are perfect for houses, but we don't have a single shop in the theme. So I will have to do that in just a second. In the meantime, I just want to get a layout done, and let's see if should we bring this right up to here. I kind of want to hug this freeway a little bit, to be completely honest. All right, that is much better. So we now have this road that's kind of wrapping this whole area. I have no idea how I want to lay down the roads down here. In fact, I think I'm just going to go with the, this normal pedestrian style roads, mainly because I want to have like seamless connections to the. Oh, it wants to snap over there. God damn it. I do not want a dealership. So yeah, we're not gonna do those. So I think like a supermarket, and this one we have at the airport. Panera Bread. Actually, we should do one of these. I have many of these modular ones. I feel like both Flux and Fresh have been using this extensively, so I guess it's now my turn. So let's just put them here for a moment to see how they look. Should probably change the time of the day so you can actually see the storefronts. There we go. That's actually much better. All right, so this is probably good enough in terms of commercial. I wanted to have a whole, like a full, supermarket kind of. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can have some of these be in these other areas and keep a larger market here. So that may make more sense. So I'm going to go with the German one because actually, wait, we have one right on this side, if I'm not mistaken. We have the Walmart here, and we have this one here. Which one we do not have nearby? I think the nearest Walmart is not anywhere around here. We have the Carrefour here. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with the Walmart. Why not? I think it can fit in there. And it's kind of appropriate because it's, right by the freeway. So thing is, we will have to get rid of this because otherwise it won't fit. And we're just going to grab the Walmart. Put it over there. It's actually not too bad. In fact, let's just move it really quickly so that we can blend the textures in. There we go. And let's just bring back the other shops. Actually, I was just thinking that maybe we can have a couple big box stores instead. So let's have the should we clip the Best Buy here? How does that look? That actually looks kind of nice. Yeah, let's have a few big box stores here instead. And I think we need a restaurant too. So a McDonald's could work too. something like that. There we go. So we're just gonna fill this whole area. Actually, you know what? Changed my mind. I changed my mind. I know I do that all the time, but it's okay. We're gonna do 3x2s instead because I want to have a patch of grass that's oops. We're gonna move this right about there. Actually, is that properly moved? Fantastic. I love this mod so much. It's amazing. It's so amazing. All right, so we're just going to... I think we need to maybe get rid of zoning here, potentially. Actually, no, that's fine. So we're going to have a whole bunch of parking lots. Wow, that is already looking quite amazing. Really happy. Okay, moving on. Actually, no, before we move on, there's something that I wanted to do. So I want to get rid of this road segment, as well as this, and as well as this. And instead of having this connect to the avenue, just to like keep traffic flowing on this collecting road instead of the main avenue, I want to have the connection like so. So let me just show you real quick. There we go. That's actually much better, in my opinion. And honestly, we can just keep adding a few more parking lots over on this side. So we're going to select them like so. And we're just going to pretty much move them like that. I was just looking at this interchange, and I think we can tweak it just a little bit. I've been seeing a lot of cars kind of like packed, trying to exit this area. So I'm going to convert this last segment to 2 lanes and do the same over here. That way they can just wait in different lanes and don't really clog the freeway. So far it hasn't happened, except for this little bug that I'm sure many of you have seen, where as soon as you just remove a segment of a road or something, the AI needs to like recalculate, you know, their path, and they just stop there for a second. So, and this is pretty much what's happening here as well. So just, it will apparently will fix itself in a little while. You see like cars are like waiting here for no reason. But that's just going to sort itself out in a moment. Another thing that I noticed is that now there's a clear shortcut from here to this freeway instead of having all the traffic kind of go through here, which is kind of annoying. What I'm going to do eventually after I'm done zoning all of this, so far it hasn't been an issue, but if it does become an issue, I'm going to basically ban heavy traffic here. And if it gets worse, I will have to like do some major surgery around these areas. One last thing, I upgraded this roads from concrete to the 2 lanes, this really narrow 2 lanes, and mostly because cars were parking on this stupid street instead of using the parking lot. So it's more of an aesthetics decision more than anything else. And what I want to do next is start working on the layout over on this side. So I'm just going to go with this road type. And let's see, can we get a nice, is this 90 degrees if I just go like this? All right, perfect. So just want to make sure that this is all properly aligned. So we're going to go, let's say 5 units from here. And maybe something like that. And something like this. So we're just going to connect those 2 together. It's kind of an interesting curve. Let's see if we can make it nicer. That's actually much nicer. All right, so we're going to keep that. And I want to have a road over here. Road, we're going to go 5 units there. Something like that. And this is pretty much going to be our commercial area, and it's sort of going to blend in with our residential. In fact, our residential will probably continue as a regular road, and this will be our backbone for this neighborhood, even though we're going to have multiple exits. But, you know, usually, I know I said this many times, but if you're having a lot of traffic issues, it's most likely because you don't have many entries and exits from the different neighborhoods. Oh, by the way, this seems like it got fixed. I don't see any cars just randomly stopping there. Awesome. Great news. Yeah, if you're basically forcing an entire city to go through the one avenue, it's very likely that you're going to get a lot of traffic. So something to keep in mind. Let's just go by about that much. I think we can just simply connect the... Wait, is that even 90 degrees? It doesn't look like it's 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. All right. Because otherwise, if you don't do that kind of thing where you lock things to 90 degrees, it usually creates other problems. All right, so we're going to go with that type of road over there. Obviously, now they're going to stop here, even if there's no traffic light for them to do so. And I wonder, I think we could just simply start working on some of these roads. I want to use this curve as a reference. So I'm going to go get a road in here, about there. And now I want to start spacing out some of these neighborhoods. So I think we're just going to go like this. This is a bit too close. See, this is kind of the gap that I wanted, at least 3 units. And I'm just going to... I guess if I just do that, that also kind of works. Which means that... You know what? No, this doesn't work. I want equidistant roads in here. So this is pretty much 3. There we go. All right, so that works. I think we have the room for it. Perfect. Okay, so now all that we need to do is simply do this. By holding Alt, you get the snapping point, that yellow line that you see here. And then you don't have to calculate or eyeball anything. So we have this accordion design here. Now, what I don't know is if I want this road. Like, I want a couple of cul-de-sacs in here. I don't want everything to be sort of connected. And if I do, I want, you know, slightly random connections like that, so that it doesn't look like too perfect, you know? And you know what? These two could easily be connected between each other. So what I want to do instead is just follow this up to here, follow this up to maybe here, and maybe there. And this is 5 units. See if this actually looks nicer than what it used to look before. Something like that, and 5 by 5. All right, so now it's definitely looking a little bit more organic. I want to get rid of that road. Not a huge fan of that. I do want to have I guess we'll have a few cul-de-sacs here, and I've been asked this question before. How do I do this little thing? Let me just show you real quick, because it's really not that big of a mystery. Just go 2 units and then 3 units, and that's it. It's a little bit glitchy. But it works. So we can do the same over here. 2 units, 3 units. You have to obviously have to have sharp angle junctions. That was way too complicated to say. Sharp angle action, sharp junction angles. There we go. Oh boy. All right. So let's go another 5 units here and do the same thing. 2 by 3, 5 units, 2. Try that again. 2 by 3 and 2 by 3 kind of mirror designs, and it's already looking really cool. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. Okay, so let's grab this thing over here. So we're gonna go 10 units by 10 units as a big curve like that, and this should give me... Oh man, why is it not a perfect angle? Stupid. So you know that thing I said that I was getting better at eyeballing things? Totally not true, it seems. So we're just gonna go do this and do that. That is actually really awesome. You know what? We can extend this a bit further out, just to like be able to sew in a few more houses. So right about there, 2 by 3. There we go. That even looks a bit more random and organic. Love it. Now this thing right here, so I think we could go a few more units this way. 2 by 3. Actually, you know what? I think I need to do this towards the other side so that I could get straight zoning right in here. I feel like this road is a bit odd, but it's actually perfectly straight. It's just the terrain that it's not. Hang on, let's see if we can bring this up just a little bit. And bring this down. Whoa, traffic lights just appeared out of nowhere. That is actually quite impressive. Cool. So I think we need another tiny suburb here, just a little one. And I want to have this main road. That actually looks much better. I like this layout. It's simple, but it kind of follows the same pattern, which I'm really happy with. I did offset this 2 roads so that it would have been nice to only have one intersection here, but I think this also adds a bit more detail to this layout. Now, before I continue, I was just noticing that we forgot to do some education here. Or actually, before I forget, we need to do some education. In terms of high school, I think this is. We have basically the nearest high school is this one. There's nothing on this side. And I like this asset a lot, this huge high school. And I was wondering whether or not it would be a good idea to put it here. I think this one kind of pretty much cover this whole area. We're gonna need 2 for sure, 2 elementary schools and 2 high schools at least. But I wanna keep this maybe right here. And the reason why I want to put it here is because I want this whole lot to be the school campus. In fact, maybe just move it a little bit towards that side. I need to turn that off. There we go. And I think at this point we might be able to get some inner roads because I want to have some parking lots on this school. Wow, that is a really tight fit. I love it. Probably gonna get another road over there. And this road could even be, I think this road could even be a pedestrian road. Actually, you know what? Not this one, but this one instead. Just because I want the bollards, you know, something like that. Actually, that works much better. I'm gonna add a few more details to this, but we'll probably work on that later. For the time being, I just want to fill out some of these layouts a bit further, and I'll resume in just a second. Time for a quick progress update. I managed to complete this whole layout. It is actually a new day for me, so I've been working on this for quite some time, but I'm really, really happy with this current layout. In fact, it looks like a circuit board, which for some reason makes me extra happy. I went ahead and added a few service buildings. So we have a couple fire stations, a pharmacy, even in this tiny roundabouts, I put the Doctor Who TARDIS, which looks kind of nice. I used Move It because if you put this here, I think the zoning, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's literally, yeah, this one's not gonna work. It's probably a bit too big. But there was a zoning element over here right before. Oh, I know why. Because I converted this roads to the freeway, and obviously those don't have zones attached to them. So before I had a regular road, I put down the TARDIS, and then I used Move It to pretty much put it in the middle of this roundabout. So they look much better that way. I did the same over here. Obviously, none of this has power, but we'll get to that in a moment. I just decided to go with this design. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And obviously, I put down some schools. We have elementary schools. There's even I did like a high school, elementary school combo here. And we also have the one that we plopped a few minutes ago. And I even extended the layout of this sort of sunken neighborhood here. I think it looks much nicer. And, I used this original roads as a reference. So hopefully this would be enough spacing for some of the houses. So I think the next thing to do will be to actually get rid. I'm going to pause the game real quick. I'm going to get rid of some of the zoning in areas where, well, basically I don't want houses. Those areas will primarily be this interconnecting roads as well as the avenues, because I definitely don't want houses on the avenues. So I'm just gonna, in this area, I'm just gonna leave the zoning because I don't think it's gonna be affected by anything. But in areas where the avenue gets too close to the cul-de-sacs, I definitely want to get rid of the zoning there. So we're gonna do this for a little while, just disable everything. And there we go. All right, so that's pretty much all the avenues without zones adjacent. As you can see, there's a lot of gaps in between. I left some of them here and there, especially when they wouldn't touch, the inner zoning, just so that eventually I can continue expansion if I wanted to do so. And because if you change it later and then there's a house zone here, you mess things up pretty much. I might even get rid of some of the zoning adjacent to this road. So let's actually find a problematic spot. So here I did that, for example. This is how it originally looked like. So I went ahead and removed that. In fact, I'm probably going to remove this as well. And pretty much areas like this where the zoning on this road touches the zoning here, even though I could have a house here because I don't think it can zone against the little cul-de-sac. So I don't know. I think that actually looks rather nice. Maybe this access road is a bit too much. You know, just segments here and there that could be a bit problematic. I'm just going to try to fix up a bit. So something like that, I think, kind of works. We're obviously going to be limiting our zoning to the specific areas that we want. We're definitely not just going to click and drag the whole zoning of residential across this whole area. We're going to do it in chunks, and we're definitely have to create gaps in between the houses so they're not all, one up against the other. So something like that actually kind of works. Let's get rid of that. There we go. All right, let's start the zoning process. Actually, before we do so, we need to expand the district because this will set the theme of the construction. So I'm just going to go ahead and start pretty much painting this whole area. In fact, I'm not sure if I should have more than one neighborhood like this. I think I will like at least, this could be one neighborhood, this could be another neighborhood, and we can have 3 neighborhoods. I think that would work. So I'm just gonna lay down roughly the layout of this neighborhood, something along these lines. I'm gonna try to not cover the commercial areas because I'm not 100% sure if they will despawn, since the themes that we're using for the for the residential don't actually have commercial buildings in them. But I'm definitely going to give that a shot, and if buildings keep despawning, which is probably what's going to happen, I'll, dezone the commercial areas. Actually, I don't need to really zone the commercial areas, to be honest, to be covered by a neighborhood. So it will be kind of like what I have here, where this neighborhood kind of goes adjacent to this commercial area. So you know what? I'm just going to go off camera, adjust the edges of this neighborhood because they look a little bit rough. But I think they need a little bit of polishing, and I'll be back in just a second. All right, now with the districts in place, the one thing that I wanted to do before anything else is set these 2 districts to not allow heavy traffic. So if I'm remembering correctly, this is where it goes. I don't think I need to ban high rises, but I'll just mark it anyways. We're using themes, so it really doesn't matter all that much. But actually, will this cost me more money? Actually, I don't think so, right? No. So might as well just keep it. We can encourage biking. We should probably have some shortcuts in between some of these roads. But let's encourage biking here too. So hopefully we'll have, much less traffic. And let's speed things up and see how things move from here. In the meantime, we're gonna start zoning this little segment over here, and we pretty much have the same problem where some of these roads will try to create zones that will prevent other zones from growing more efficiently. So I'm gonna do that. I think that's actually okay. Actually, no, I want this house here. All right, so we're gonna go here, and it's actually better if I just use this tool instead. So we're gonna have a few 4x4 houses and try to space them out a little bit, just like so. Do the same over here, pretty much. We're gonna have a couple, if we can, something like this. For example, here, we are going to get rid of that. Wait, what the hell did I just do? Oh, I just converted a road instead of, there we go. That's what I wanted, and that's what I wanted. Perfect. So now we can get another 4x4 right here in the corner. And I might as well put one here as well. And we can get rid of zoning for this. Actually, yeah, we're gonna get rid of zoning for that. Put this house in here. And I wish that I could actually do that there. So I have a better idea. So there's if you hit Control and click on the zone removal thing, You can eventually get rid of the zoning on one side and keep it on the other, but it pretty much screws up everything else around it. So I try to avoid using that as much as I can. So I'm going to bring the zoning back on. And obviously now we have zoning on both sides. But what I wanted to do instead is, first of all, zone a house here. And second of all, I'm going to use the pedestrian tool to lay down a pedestrian road over here. And that pretty much gets rid of the zoning. Now, when you have this gaps, like I have here, what I use is move it, obviously. And I just select the segments like this and by holding shift, and then I just move them pretty much there. And you end up with like a nice sidewalk here. If you don't like it, you can, I think if we use Surface Painter, you just, you can get rid of it completely, but it's still there. So people will still walk on the grass. It's really up to you. Let me try to bring back the sidewalk at least. Yeah, there we go. If you're like really, really precise with your surface painting, you can pretty much achieve amazing things. So already our neighborhood is looking much nicer. What if I get rid of that segment and get another 3x4 over there? Let's go full speed and see if we can get some growth in here. I'm not sure if we will indeed get some growth unless I just boost the demand a little bit, and there we go. We now have a little bit of growth. Now, after spending some time zoning and letting things grow, I came across this weird bug where, as you can see, this whole segment, this whole block, it's just not growing. I checked the basics. We do have some demand. I can boost this up, as you can see, and it's still not doing anything. In fact, I zone this and then zone this part right here. This one grew perfectly well. This one, however, is not growing, even though there is traffic driving around the street, so it is connected. I checked that. It has power, it has water, it has everything, but for some reason it's not growing, which is something that I might have to debug later. Another thing that I did here is space out some of the old neighborhoods that we had here, and just added a few more gaps to make it a little bit less dense. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Obviously, like I said, I need to debug this. But since I'm running out of time for this episode, I will have to do that for the next one. And maybe when I reload the save, it will fix itself. And talking about the next episode, we're going to be doing a little bit of detailing here. I mean, for the most part, it's going to be vegetation. But I also want to put, special attention to this tiny commercial areas, which, by the way, this one I don't think I've shown yet in my progress updates. I kind of did it off camera. I might change the layout a bit later on. I do want to have some curved parking lots here. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It just definitely needs a little bit of a green love, if you know what I mean. Same with this thing, this construction over here. We definitely need to add a few more details. I later realized that we already have a Walmart here, but I guess it's fine. I might change it later to a different market. I guess the Carrefour isn't. It's in this location. It's kind of far away. So to keep things a bit more interesting, I might switch it. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. This whole layout is just really, really interesting. It's not something that I usually do, but I think it turned out really good. And we are indeed having a ton of cross traffic on this avenue, so I might get rid of this segment right here. I tried many different things. If we go into the into the policies, I added the Old Town policy, which bans motor vehicles except for the people who live in the area, but that doesn't seem to be having an effect on that. I added to this neighborhood and to this one as well, but unfortunately cars are still driving around. So what I think I'm going to do is get rid of this segment of avenue and turn it into a park or something like that, whilst keeping the same orientation and layout. But unfortunately, like I said a second ago, I no longer have time for this episode. So if you enjoyed thus far, please give this video a like. That's very much appreciated. Maybe we can get it to 23 likes. Seems ambitious enough. And also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. There's a link in the description to the full playlist in case you might have missed an episode. But that's all I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching. I really hope to see you in the next one.